All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get this going here on my screen share. Welcome, everybody. We are live in Midwest Elevation. These are the conversations to raise the collective consciousness. And we are so happy to be here today with all of you. We did hop on a little bit early. I'm gonna get my recording going, and I'm going to get my screen share going so that I can introduce this lovely lady here by my side as I show my Facebook. There we go. So we are a little bit early, but Michelle and I were just so excited to get started. We couldn't contain ourselves. We were ready to go. So Michelle Sophia is our guest today, and she is an inner transformation guide and healer who works with women who are feeling disconnected from the joy of life. If that speaks to you, you are in the right place at the right time. She guides her clients to shift to higher levels of consciousness where they can master peaceful presence so they may thrive in challenging times, fully connected and present in their relationship to self, others, and the earth as a whole. There is no better time to be talking with you, Michelle, than in these times that we are having. And I will note that you do have a couple links here that I will put in the comment section at the end of all this with your website and your Facebook group, which I am a part of your Facebook group, and I get so much joy out of being in that community, and I really appreciate all the things you do in there. So let me stop sharing so we can have a proper introduction to your beautiful face. Welcome, Michelle. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you. It's always so fun when we gather and we get to have these great conversations, and now we get to share it. So how perfect is that?
It is super perfect.
Super perfect.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about, I love, I emailed you and I said, all right, what's our topic? And you wrote back with becoming unshakable. And I was like, damn, that's good. What does it mean? Tell me how we got here.
Well, let's start just like let's just take a couple of deep breaths together first, because to me that's probably the big part of the key to becoming unshakable. So let's go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths. And for those of you listening to us, feel free to join us. Just taking a couple of deep breaths in and out. Become fully present in this moment. To me, becoming unshakable is when we are fully balanced and we are fully present and we're, right here in this moment. Life can send us, all these lessons all the time. And sometimes, we don't get the lesson the first, I don't know, 5, 6 times. Sometimes it takes 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And, if you get to like 11, 12 times of getting that same lessons, all of a sudden it's like you're getting pummeled by this big wave. And I feel as we shift to higher states of consciousness, we can find ourselves to be truly unshakable. Not that we are always continually growing and learning and evolving, and the lessons are always still coming, but hopefully through increasing our awareness and learning how to truly observe, we can hopefully see those lessons a little sooner so that we can actually ride those waves versus getting pummeled. And
I love that image. Yes.
and believe me, I have gotten pummeled by some waves, and part of when this first got started, when I first began my journey of self-realization, I was going through a lot of major lessons in my life. And, I had recently, had gotten divorced, and I was moving out of my house and moving into a smaller house that would be more manageable for me and my children, who were going between me and my ex-husband's house. And, I was actually, excited and looking forward to the fresh start. And It is 2 days before the official moving day. And I, realized, three kids, almost 10 years in a house. Boy, we had accumulated so much stuff. It was crazy. You know how that goes.
Oh yes,
So
yes. That's what
trying,
we were doing.
you always think you can get things done much faster than you can. So it was really stressful trying to get everything packed. And then I found out the house that I was moving into, the people were leaving 3 days before close and they were giving me the keys early. And they were like, well, here, we'll give you the keys now. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I could try to start getting some stuff over there. It won't have to be so stressful.
Yeah.
So I actually even called my movers up and I'm like, can we do this in a couple days? Because it'll be a lot easier on me. Maybe you could take one truckload over, and which I probably shouldn't have done since the contracts legally hadn't been signed, mind you.
Oh,
But,
right.
I was thinking
Oh,
they gave me
details.
keys, they gave me permission, you know what I mean? They're completely moved out. The house is mine. Like, why not? So I had, movers come over. We moved in a huge truckload of stuff. And, we got all the basement stuff situated. I'm like taking the Christmas wreaths and hanging them on hooks in this closet, trying to get everything organized, all that kind of fun stuff. And then we started getting these monsoon rains in Ohio. We don't really have monsoons, but it
Right,
felt
right.
like a monsoon.
Well, that's like here in Iowa. We had a land hurricane. What is that? You know,
Right, right.
it just hit us. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just crazy.
I never know.
You never know.
Nothing will surprise me anymore.
Right. So, there I am trying to get everything situated. And I'm like, I got this, because when things are crazy in life, what do we try to do? But we try to control, right?
Mhm.
So I was trying to control what I could control by trying to get some things organized and shifted and moved. Well, I went back to the new house, right? After the movers had come in, and I was just like, all excited and checking everything out. And I go down in the basement, and what I find is the wall that was hidden by all of their stuff during our inspection is pouring water into the basement
Oh my God.
where all of my stuff is. Okay. And now, we know the spiritual meaning of water is emotion.
Oh yes, and you have a lot of experience with water.
Right.
I love it.
So,
Water equals emotion. Okay, I'm writing that down so I don't forget.
all right. And so all this water is pouring in, and I'm like, oh my God, I've just bought a house that got this horrible, water problem and this and that. And it was like nightmare time. And then I'm like, I didn't buy the house. I haven't signed the papers. So here I am, right? I move everything out. Okay. I literally move everything that I just had 5 moving guys move in. I had to move out. Well, A, to get it out and save it from getting totally drenched in all the flooding. And then also because I needed to get everything out of the house because I'm not officially in there yet.
Right.
And, I move everything back out, and some of it went to my house. Some of it went to my ex-husband's garage. Some of it just stayed in the car. It was like a total disaster whirlwind. So I decided I wasn't going to sign the papers on
Mm.
that house, right? Unless they were going to fix the basement, this, that, the other. Well, it
Sure.
turned into
Right.
a
Right.
big fight, and needless to say, I didn't end up moving in. I still had to be out of my house.
Oh, right.
And I had movers coming the next day to take all the furniture, and I had nowhere to go.
Oh my gosh.
So the movers had to come and take away, all my furniture and all the stuff that I had moved in. And it was a total disaster. Everything seemed to get disheveled. They ended up putting everything in their warehouse, which they weren't even really a storage place,
Right.
but it all went into the warehouse. Thankfully, it all happened. So I was so immersed in just getting everything done, right? That once finally the movers finished everything, and I went over to my ex-husband's where my kids were, because they were all excited they're going to be going to their new house tonight
Yeah.
and the night, we don't have a new house. And
Surprise.
they're in the driveway and they're crying like at my ex-husband's house, and I like come in and I was so disconnected out of survival mode. You know what I mean? To just try to get through all of it. And I pulled in the driveway and they're all crying and they're like, Mom, where you don't have a home,
Mm.
like, where are you gonna go? And I was like, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it
Yeah.
was like one of those moments where I really thought I was gonna lose it.
Mm.
Like I felt like the world was spinning. I thought I was just gonna collapse and fall down. And my ex-husband and his girlfriend were standing in the driveway. And my ex-husband and the kids are like, Mom can stay here, right? And I was no, like, don't worry, mom will be fine. Mom will find something to do. And my ex-husband's like, he comes over to me and he's like, You're not thinking? This isn't about you. It's about the kids, and they're gonna be worried. So you'll go upstairs.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I'm like, well, you know what? Not tonight. You
Right.
know? Like, not tonight. I can't do this. And I like got in the car and I told the kids, don't worry, I was going to go to a hotel and I just needed some time to relax and,
Yeah.
figure things out. And I went to that hotel and I completely lost it. I
Mm.
mean, I completely broke down and I went so low, that I mean, I truly was having trouble functioning. It was just like one of those moments like, oh my God, I am truly homeless. I get back in my, SUV when I was pulling out of the driveway. The kids are like waving and everybody's kind of crying. It was all horribly emotional. It was one of the most, you know, incredibly odd, challenging times. I mean, I don't want to say it was devastating because we're all alive, right? You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can't,
Yeah.
which
Perspective, of course.
almost even makes it worse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that we're alive, but that it's not like it's something that I should be able to handle, right? Like I'm putting all this pressure on myself. And I couldn't make head or tail of it. And I found myself going down this road where I was a little bit like losing faith. Like, God, why would you do this to me? Like,
Yeah.
why is this
Yeah.
happening? You know, I back out of the driveway. I'm in the SUV that's packed to the gills, right? And I'm can't even turn around to really see well. And I'm pulling out on a main road, and my wind chimes are hanging in the background, and they're going ding 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 ding.
Oh.
And then I just started crying, and I felt like I couldn't stop crying for the longest time,
Yeah.
and I was completely out of control emotionally. I had completely lost it, and this had kind of been like one of those last straw moments. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how much more I could take.
Yeah.
And I realized how much I wasn't balanced even prior to this happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was so not balanced and I was so emotionally trying to act strong and trying to control things. And really, it was just burying everything in. And it was very interesting because, it's very close to the time that I started my self realization journey. So it didn't take me, it was still a few days,
Right.
but slowly but surely, I started to find out that those lessons that were happening to me in that moment had greater meaning. They had greater purpose, right? You know,
Yeah.
like in ways that I could never imagine. I started really asking myself, okay, what is the lesson? What do I have to learn so that this can get better? What do I have to see here? What is the universe trying to show me? What is God trying to teach me?
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of it, okay, mind you, I 3 nights out of the week, and this went on for months until I could actually find another house. 3 nights out of the week, I stayed at my ex-husband's upstairs in his massage room. And he and his girlfriend, were downstairs in their
Right.
master bedroom. God bless their hearts. I mean,
Yeah,
come
it's
on.
beautiful. We
God
we've
bless,
had some of those situations here too.
right?
You know, I
You
think
know,
we're entering a new era of divorce relationships
right?
where
I
still,
mean,
we're still family. We still take care of each other in crisis.
right? And
Yeah.
so grateful for that. I mean,
Yeah.
so very grateful for that. And that's where, as soon as I started finding that gratitude, and the
Mm.
compassion for what they were going through, having to have me come into their house, like, oh my God, like I started seeing things from so many different angles. And that's like when I really started to realize that my consciousness was truly beginning to shift and that I really was beginning to have greater awareness. And I was realizing that, sometimes things happens in ways that we don't want them to, but there's reason whether we see it or not. And the reasons that I found from this was, it did bring closure with my ex-husband and I in ways that never would have happened if I wasn't in that house, you know, and
Yeah,
there was
coming
like,
face to face with it, literally. Right.
right. And literally just having to surrender, you know what I mean? And be completely detached to what was going to happen because I had no idea. I mean, I was driving around in my SUV with a wind chime
You're
things
right.
hanging back and forth, and everything packed to the gills. And then my, ex-husband who's very organized, I had mounds of stuff in his garage. And what you're doing right now, that's all I could do. And I would look at him, I would just kind of bend my head and be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it gave me closure in that way. So, and having the awareness and the tools that I so want to share with other people and other women, because, having those tools really helped me come out of it a lot quicker versus having a complete, nervous breakdown. And
Right.
you know what I mean? And heaven knows what would have happened from there. But, and finding the silver lining and, realizing the connection in that to gratitude,
Mm.
connection in that to compassion, the connection with forgiveness. You know what I mean? When we bring our conscious awareness to those levels, then we truly can begin to find ourselves in a place that we are unshakable, where we do just kind of have to laugh it off. You know what I
Right.
mean? And,
Yeah.
and even if we do go off of our center, we get back a little quicker. You know what I mean? As soon as we
Yeah.
can bring ourselves back to that present moment and bring ourselves to where we are feeling very, very, you know, connected in the present moment. And we start to ask ourselves those hard questions,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
what am I being tested in? What is this supposed to show me? What are the lessons here? When we start looking at things from that perspective, our consciousness completely shifts.
Yeah.
So to me, that is becoming unshakable. And, I've done some deep dive studying in this now. And the one thing I can tell you is we're always being tested. We're always learning, you know what I mean? And being able to have that compassion for yourself seems to be one area where a lot of people really struggle.
Yeah.
They can be very compassionate for other people, but when it comes to being compassionate for themselves, it like goes out the window.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like I really, I'm so passionate about helping, women to empower them to allow themselves to truly see themselves.
Mm.
When we become the observer and we're looking at ourselves and truly observing who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, it really helps us. And, as we're going through these times right now, I mean, my gosh, 2020 has, I mean, brought so much change. Like people don't even know what to call it. And a lot of the phrases I don't even like to go into because I won't call this a new normal. I will not call
Yeah.
it a new
Yeah.
normal because this is not a new normal for me. I don't believe that there's any going back to
Right.
the way things were, nor honestly do I want to. You know what I mean? Because I
Oh, I
feel
know exactly what you mean. So many systems were already broken to begin with.
right,
Things were not working. We weren't, we were busy, busy, busy. We were, doing a million things, on top of all sorts of other systematic issues, with education and uh law enforcement and on and on and on and on and on. You know, we definitely,
right. And
yeah, we
racism,
can't go back.
right. No, we don't want to go back. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we want, to bring awareness to these issues, to bring them to the surface so they can be better, so that our children have it better. You know what I mean? I really believe that we are creating a new paradigm. And as we shift to higher levels of consciousness, that is going to truly help us to create that new paradigm.
Hmm.
And the way that, I see it, and I've heard this expression 1,000 times is, the solution is never at the same level as the problem. We always have to go to a different level to find the solution. And to me, as we become more conscious, immediately we're finding more happiness, more joy, more peace in our lives. But the way that it's increasing our awareness allows us to find that compassion and gratitude and forgiveness
Mm.
and the ability to see things in a new direction so that we can truly, truly help ourselves, help others, because, we are all one. When we
Hmm.
look at our connection, we are all so connected. And the sooner that everybody begins to truly see our connection, the sooner everything is going to start to shift for the better.
That's true. I really love how, you talk about, I pulled out all these like worldly examples, and you said, the things are coming to the surface so that we can look at them, right, and make the changes and be aware. And I mean, what's happening out there, right, is the mirror of what's been happening in here, right?
Exactly,
And that,
exactly.
our own shit has to come up to the surface, pardon my language. I don't think anybody cares. But it has to come to the surface in order for us to look at it and to wonder about it and to ask those hard questions that you were like, just as you were saying, and to give it the compassion, which is the hard part, right? To give those dark parts of ourselves, the things we don't really like, we have to just give it some love.
Give it love, give it compassion, allow yourself to find that forgiveness within you, because here we are, right? Where, you know, sometimes, I kind of joke about this, like, which dimension am I currently in?
Right.
Which timeline am I currently on? Well, we are here in the third dimension.
Yes.
And in this third dimension, it's a dualistic reality, right? I mean,
Yep.
good, bad, masculine, feminine, black, white, this is the way that we see everything. And to me, it's about learning how to collapse that duality. You know what I mean? Like, it's collapsing the duality so that, and part of that process for me is, where we are really making those shifts to higher level consciousness, and where we can really, then go into fourth and fifth dimensional living, and, I really feel like that's the big part of my purpose here, in
Mm,
this lifetime, is that, to me, fifth dimensional living is like, that's where I would call heaven. But
mm,
in reality, heaven is here. It's right here. It's
yeah.
right now. It's inside each and every one of us. It's a state of being if we will see it and allow it and open to it. But see, in that fifth dimensional reality, our thoughts and our words and our actions, they all manifest, immediately, right? So it's like we have to be so pure, that pure state, that pure
Mm,
heart intention, that pure way of being. To me, that is the goal, that we want to fully open ourselves up, and just like, teachings, religious teachings of the past, when we look what Jesus Christ would say, the kingdom lies within, the kingdom is within each and every one of us. And,
right.
that is, as we become more conscious, we can be living heaven on earth.
Mm,
And the term that it's so interesting. When I first started having my awakening process, I walked up my stairs one day and I out loud said the word Shambhala. And I literally said, "What the heck is Shambhala?" Like, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to Google it. And, and not totally dating myself, but this was almost 10 years ago. And Google didn't have the search results like it does today.
right.
Now you can Google in Shambhala and you find a whole bunch of information. I couldn't find anything back when I originally, Googled it. But then I did eventually, as time went on and I was started studying more, I did find out, that it is bridging heaven, and earth, bringing, the awareness of heaven, that it is right here for each of us, and
Mm,
that it really is just a shift in consciousness. And, so that is my goal now, to help people that, realize that we don't have to suffer the way that
mm.
so many are.
I love that.
And as we're going through all these incredible shifts and changes right now in this time in 2020, now more than ever. It's so important. It's so very important that each of us has that toolbox that we can open up to help us to keep balanced and centered. And, that is the type of information that I'm looking to share. Obviously for myself, the number one way, the number one way to shift yourself to higher consciousness is meditation.
Mm.
And I know a lot of people get very nervous when they hear the word meditation. And a lot of people have great, great expectations of themselves when they hear the meditation. Some of them already have programming in their brains. I was one of them, no doubt. Oh, I can't sit down.
Oh yeah, I'm still like you know, meditation. Wait, I can't sit there and not think about anything, and but I'm learning. I'm learning that that's not really it.
Oh, no, no, allow your thoughts. You know what I mean? And that's like one of my favorite expressions is allow your thoughts to go by, but like big fluffy white clouds in the sky. It's okay if they come and they go. The thing is that when they come, we don't want to grab onto it and then start doing this emotional cycle downward spiral
Yes.
where we're like, oh my God. And then we start beating ourselves up and we do this and we do that. But instead, if we take ourselves in that moment and we observe ourselves, and I
Mhm.
always like this thought, so like if we're sitting here like with our eyes closed right now, and I say, observe yourself,
Mhm.
who is that is observing you? Who is that?
Yeah.
That is who we want to connect with. You know,
Mm.
that is our spirit. That is our higher self. That is our true essence. That is truly who we are. And it is from that point, as we observe ourselves, that we can find our truest connection, our truest meaning, our truest understanding, where we can have compassion for ourselves and be able to forgive ourselves and understand, why things are happening. And as we begin to shift and ask ourselves those bigger questions, like, what's really happening here? What are the lessons here? We can begin to understand. And, you know, for me, it's like we all have this story, right? Like, we could have something that's going on in our lives and we obsess on it, right? Or some people obsess on it and it becomes like everything. And you want to pick up the phone and call up everybody. Oh my God, did you hear? Did you know? And then you call up the next person. Oh my God, did you hear? Did you know? Well, to me, this is unhealthy story.
Mm.
This is the story that we need to kick to the curb. Now, I don't want to confuse that with the fact that that story does have a lesson, and that
Right.
story does need to have this area where we totally understand what that story needs to teach us so that we truly can release it and kick it to the curb, right?
Mhm.
And the problem is instead of trying to understand it, so many of us decide, okay, you know what? I'd rather just talk about
Mhm.
it than
Repeat the events and to get the feedback of like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
right,
Yeah.
right. And it's like
Yeah.
we need to leave that victim mentality. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? We
Right.
have to realize that we are not a victim,
Right.
that everything that is happening us is happening to teach us something, and that we need to learn what that is.
Right. Which
And
isn't to say that the feelings that you have are not valid or validatable.
absolutely.
Right.
No, their feelings are very true and very real. And there's a lot of people that use this term spiritual bypassing. I am by no means saying to spiritual bypass, absolutely not. Because for me, I'm a strong believer that if we leave the issues in our tissues, you
Oh,
know,
I love it. Yeah.
they're going to turn, into dis-ease,
Mhm.
dis
Yes.
disease, and we do not want that in our body. So we have to truly step back, observe, understand, forgive,
Mm.
release, have gratitude. With the gratitude and the forgiveness, we can truly release it and learn the lesson so that it doesn't come back around again in that cycle, or it doesn't come like that tidal wave that knocks you out and pummels you
Right.
down to the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we could just get a little wet by that wave. We
Yeah.
don't have to like be eating
Oh,
sand.
right.
So, for myself, that is like where the magic lies. Like, what are the tools that we can do, and I realize that I have, since I first had my awakening, I've slowly but surely been guided, to learn these tools. And that is like what I'm working right now, is putting them all in together and doing deep dive retreat experiences to help people to find their healing, to find their peace, to, truly master, their inner peace so that they can become unshakable,
Hmm.
and to truly bring healing to their body so that they can release the trauma that's there, to remove the issues from the tissues, and to truly, begin to find healing in their body, in their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual states.
Mm, that's beautiful. The work you do is beautiful. I'm so inspired by you, and I love the focus on, that it's not just, um, it's not. I can't even articulate it. I'm so moved, right? It's not easy work. Stuff happens. Stuff happens all the time. And becoming unshakable is not allowing that stuff to change who we are at the core, right? And to embody and understand, you talk about the observer, and being able to be an observer of the problems that are happening, um, instead of like, it's all happening to me. It's happening. It's just happening. Like, this is a thing I'm picking up here, and it feels different. It feels very different. Things are happening versus they're happening to me, or they're happening for me
Are
even.
happening for you. Exactly. Exactly. They're happening for you because, you know, there's a deeper reason for it. There's a deeper meaning to it. And it's to teach you something, right? I mean, a lot of people say Earth is like a school, that we're on Earth school. So, when we start to look at it that way, then, as we, literally, I look at it like we're reprogramming our brains, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
taking out that old dated, drive and we're re-putting, reprogramming it with an updated higher consciousness, awareness
Yep.
to really, help us to, find that peaceful space.
Hmm.
And, and it's just so important though to realize too that, yes, the lessons do still keep coming. And I'm not going to say, just because you're, becoming unshakable. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I can't be knocked down again because, I'm the first one, who knows, who knows what lessons are coming. And I will never say that because, it's a continual process. I mean, we're here on life and that's what I think the joy of life is, right? I mean, all of these experiences that we are having, help us to learn, grow, and evolve. And hopefully if we do get knocked down, we can find our way back to center all the sooner,
Yeah.
or instead of getting knocked down, maybe it's just a matter of minutes, maybe like, if something really crazy happens, I'm like, oh my God, why did you? And then take a deep breath,
Yeah.
find your space, find your peace, gain awareness. Why
Well, and
is
that's
that?
that reprogramming, right? That is, I mean, it's because we have our knee jerk reactions, we have our habitual responses, and those are still gonna like come up, but
Right.
catching it.
Programmed responses. Some of those responses aren't even yours.
Yeah, no, they're your
There aren't
parents or
yours.
your
They
siblings
might have
or
come
the.
from the church, they might have come from the television news, they might have come from a teacher, they might have come from a friend's parent, and as we start doing that deep work and awareness, and we're like, okay, well, wait a minute, where did that even come from? As we start to bring the awareness there,
Mm,
that's where we really start to get deep in the work. And, you're right. It's not necessarily easy work when we go deep into the inner work because we are healing and releasing the trauma.
yeah.
And there's many different modalities and ways of doing this, that can be very, very powerful. I'll never forget, I had when I was doing this Kundalini dance experience. And, there we were, we're going and we're dancing for 14 days, right? And I'm like, oh, okay.
14 days of dancing.
Yeah, right. 14 days,
That
literally.
sounds both amazing and tiring.
It was tiring. It was amazing. It was so transformational. Of course, it was coupled like with meditation and things like that. And there I am, just like, oh, it's a party. And then all of a sudden, like she says a couple things and she plays a different types of music, and then she puts you in this prayer state. And then the next thing you know, you're like having these unconscious memories like that happen like in your childhood, like bubble to the surface, and you're like, my God, I totally didn't remember that. But now you see it like clear as day. And
Right.
it's amazing through this practice, through these movements, through bringing and calling in this awareness, what can truly come up. But as you do release it, and a lot of people will say it's like a purging, it truly is like you're purging the
Mm,
entire process. But you are, mind you, without being the victim,
right.
releasing, releasing all of the issues in the tissues with gratitude and with
Mm,
forgiveness. And so many people are like, well, how can you forgive somebody that's done something terrible to you? Or how do you forgive somebody who's done this or that? And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. But to me, the clearest path to forgiveness is first finding out, okay, well, if somebody did do something, you're not a victim. I do believe that these things happen to teach us things in life so that we can learn from them. And if we can have compassion for the person who may have caused us this harm or discomfort, if we can find compassion for them, we can all of a sudden find a place of forgiveness. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't keep healthy boundaries and,
right.
have, ways of still finding yourself feeling safe and protected, because that's always, something that we have to consider, especially if those people are still nearby us in our life, but we can find true forgiveness. And as we do, then we really open up our heart.
Mm,
And that's where we really can find, I believe, our deepest peace,
mhm.
and through engaging all of these practices, I'm just so grateful because the transformations that I have gone through, I mean, it was very challenging at times, but honestly, I wouldn't change anything in the world because I have truly found such amazing peace, and I have so much love in my heart now. And,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like it's overflowing, and it's like, that's why I'm so passionate about it now, and it's like, I am the first one to say, like, I don't believe, like I sit here and I call myself this guide and a healer, but I'm not a healer that's going to come up to a person and say, oh, you're healed. No, I believe that I help others to heal by helping them to awaken their inner healer,
Mm,
and
yes.
that's where the magic is,
Yeah.
and it's really, to me, that's where I like to look at it, is, allowing and awakening your inner alchemist, because, it's that alchemist that can work with that energy, right? Because we're all energetic beings and we have this masculine and feminine energy inside of us. And as we allow that feminine energy to rise, which is interesting how my voice went there,
Uh-huh.
right? But as we allow that feminine energy to rise, which is so important right now, because in our society, and just as the alchemists always say, as above, so below, as within, so without,
Yes.
in our society, the feminine energy has been down, so far down, and it's time for it to rise again into balance with the masculine energy. And
Mm,
as we look at that in our society, you know, to me, if I look at how can I change society? Well, dear God, I just want to go and put a blanket over my
right.
head.
Yeah, that's a big task.
Right, that's a big task. And I don't know that I have all those answers. But if we look at it as the alchemist, that what is within is without, and we begin working within ourselves,
Yeah.
and we find first, it starts with us. It starts with you. It starts with me, and as each one of us does it, I think, I think Dalai Lama who said, if we start teaching, 8-year-olds to meditate, we'll have a peaceful world by time they're, in retirement.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? So it's like that change can start, and as we work on ourselves, that's truly what's the most important. It starts with you. It's all within you, and if you need somebody to guide you to find those answers within, they are truly within. But honestly, I don't know that I would have found them without the guides and teachers that have come
Yeah.
into my life,
Yeah.
that helped
Oh
me. I'm
yeah.
so grateful, so
We need
grateful.
other people.
Right? I mean, just look at like how I know you, Renee. You know what I mean? We're in this amazing group of 4 women that gets together every week, and we support each other as we're, here to make our, whatever change we can in this world. And we're helping each other and supporting each other. And, that's beautiful. That's
It is
grateful,
beautiful.
right?
I'm so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you. Mwah!
You're the best.
Like love fest.
I know. We're just everybody love each other. Love, love, love.
Exactly. Love, love, love.
Love, love, love.
We all
But
just
that's,
love.
I mean, it's so, it's it sounds simple and we're kind of joking, but that's really like it.
It's
That's
so,
really it.
it's all there is. It's all that matters. To me, love is the answer.
Mhm.
And it's been like on my Facebook, wallpaper for I don't know how long. It's just, that's it. Love is
Yeah.
the answer. And it starts with the self-love, right?
Hmm.
Because we can't truly love others until we love ourselves.
Hmm.
It's so interesting, like when I got divorced, so many people, oh, what happened? Oh, you guys looked like you had such the perfect relationship. And people want the gossip and people want the juice and the drama.
Yeah.
And I was just very quiet, and in all honesty, when we first got divorced, I wasn't sure at the
Mhm.
time why all was happening that was happening. Now I know that the Michelle back then, I didn't love myself
Mm.
enough. I lost myself.
Mhm.
The Michelle back then, and this is always a part of me, so I always kind of have to keep it in balance.
Yeah.
I've always been the type of person that wanted to please everybody else to the point where I lost myself. Like if people want to go to dinner and you're picking a restaurant, oh, wherever you want, honey. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
I didn't know I liked Indian food until I was 50.
Right.
Truly,
You never had the chance. Yeah.
but I did have the chance. I just didn't take the voice. I didn't
Hmm.
voice myself, and I didn't, I look at myself that way. Like what was that part of me that said that what I want or what I need that isn't worthy? And I didn't even look at it that way. I just thought that was how I had to love others, was
Yeah.
to put them above me. I didn't realize
It's
that.
not? Wait a minute.
Right? I know I didn't realize then that I wasn't, you know, loving myself, that I
Yeah.
wasn't being good to myself. And it's been a long, process to truly, truly learn. And that part of me that wants to please others will always be a part of me. And I treasure that part of me, but it has to stay in balance. And that's the
The
difference.
balance. Yes. The balance.
Unshakable, right?
Yes.
Staying in that space, and that, and the only way that I truly learned that was by becoming it. And I didn't even know that that's what I was trying to become. It just slowly but surely over time, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
in the meditation and doing the deep inner work and truly finding that understanding and going deep within to find the answers, that I began to truly find that peace. And, so grateful. And the tools are always needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always, always. I use them daily.
Yeah.
Always. Daily
Wonderful.
sadhana practice is so important. It's
Yeah.
very important.
I'm learning. I'm still learning.
You're doing great. Renee, you do so much amazing work for the world. I mean, just what you do as a teacher, and I see you. I totally see you. I see how you are with your own children. I see how you are with your students just from what you've shared with me, and then
Yeah.
I see the amazing work you're doing on top of all that. And, and sharing this information and, starting your group Midwest Elevation, it's what's so inspiring to me, and it gives me hope, that as we're going through all these times right now, we're shedding as a society, that we have those of us that are jumping in, like ready to rebuild, reprogram, reestablish, oh, I don't even want to say reestablish, but you know, you know, create.
Create. Yes.
We're creating that new paradigm. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, we've had some folks watching all along the way. Of course, if there's questions, feel free to put them down. Even if you're watching on the replay, if you have questions for Michelle, just let us know, tag us. I will put those links in your Facebook group. It's beautiful. I love what you offer in there, and I know that you're working on some new stuff, and I'm excited to see it come to life. You do have so many tools in your back pocket that I've been lucky to receive,
thank
and
you. I'm
I'm
so
grateful.
blessed for that. Thank
And
you.
there's so much more out there. So I just am grateful.
Thank you. If there's I actually wanted to read this to you. It's writing by Jackson Kiddard, and I just feel like it's so powerful as we dive in to do the inner work. And I feel that, even if there's one sentence that resonates, that anybody that's listening, um, I like to look at this often. And again, it's by Jackson Kiddard, and it's anything that annoys you is teaching you patience. And anyone who abandons you is teaching you how to stand up. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Anything that has power over you is for teaching you how to take your own power back. Anything you hate is for teaching you unconditional love. And anything you fear is for teaching you courage to overcome your fear. Anything you can't control is for teaching you how to let go and trust the universe. And that last line there,
Whew.
it's at some point we just have to let go and trust the universe. And as I found myself without a home, and you know back with my ex-husband and his girlfriend, it's amazing what that did for our relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is, for our children to witness it. We had actually some hoots too.
I
I'll tell
bet you
you a
did.
funny story. One time, like the kids were like getting ready for school. Oh, and that was like one of the other like big blessings that I had, because when we were married, we were very, like starting out, my ex-husband then was working so many hours, you know what I mean? Like he was constantly gone at work. I mean, he's being a wonderful provider and a father, and you know, and then I was constantly, I did everything with the kids. I had three under two. So it's like I had Irish triplets. So, it was
Whew.
like, it was some
Here's
crazy
to you.
days, right? And, so one of the things I knew when I got divorced was that my kids were going to get more time with their dad. So one of the mornings when I was upstairs, like in one of the kid rooms, like sleeping, but I was up, I laid there because we stuck to our days, even though we were like in the same house. So like if it was his days, he still got up with the kids and got them out to school. So one day I sat up in my bed and I listened to him as he was making their lunches and talking to them and getting them out the door to school. And I mean, tears just started streaming down my cheeks, because it's hard as divorce. Divorce is so hard on a family. It's so very hard on a family, but it brings gifts in strange ways. And that's sometimes what we just don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And just to bring in like a lighter story, one of the other mornings that I was there, a guy was coming to do some work at the house. So the garage door was open. He knocks on the door. One of my kids is like, come in. So he comes in, he's at the kitchen, and I can hear upstairs everything that's going on. And my ex-husband's girlfriend is there in the kitchen, and he's like, are you Mrs. Forrestal? And she's like, nope. And she walks away, and he looks at the kid. He's like, is that your mom? And then they're like, nope. The guy's like, where's your mom? She's upstairs. Mom,
Yeah, right.
is that Mrs. Forrestal? So I come downstairs. He's like, are you Mrs. Forrestal? Yes. Are you the woman of the house? Nope. By this point, Elena's out and we're all laughing, by his girlfriend, and we're laughing. And, then my ex-husband comes walking out of the bedroom, and he's in a suit and he's got his tie on. And the guy's like, who do I talk to?
Right. Oh my God,
There's
that's so
definitely
great.
some comical moments that came through the whole experience. And so very grateful. And I always kind of joke around, with there, it's now his fiance. And it's funny, she made the room I stayed in, it's now her office. And I'm like, I wonder if I should take that first.
Right.
But we just joke. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to be coming back in there.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, that's great.
life's a hoot. But,
It is.
one of the best, things that I like to reference is that, if there at any time we start to feel disconnected, and this is one of my greatest teachers taught me, that if we're feeling disconnected, it is only serving as a reminder to get back to the present moment and get reconnected, connect with your spirit, connect with your higher self, find that place of stillness, find that place of peace. Don't worry if you have thoughts going through your mind. It's okay. Just sit there and be present. Let it be. Just let it be. I mean, the Beatles
I know. All you
said it
need is
right, right?
love and let it be, right?
You just have to listen to the Beatles. We're all good.
All
But
the life lessons are in the Beatles song.
seriously, right?
I love it.
When I went to India, that was so cool to be able to like go where the Beatles were
Mm.
at the ashram that they were at, because they have like all these like meditation huts and the walls are all painted with all of those song lyrics. You
Oh
know
my
what I mean?
gosh,
Like,
I had no
I
idea.
don't know how they're like happened as they were writing them, but it was just so magical to witness and see.
That's very
So,
cool.
so magical. So magical.
Very,
But
very.
so I am, I know you mentioned my Facebook group, and I do have a Facebook group for women. So if anybody is listening and would like to connect more, it is a community of women that is, looking to, become unshakable, master that inner peace, to shift to higher levels of consciousness. And, Renee will leave the link, and I would love for you to join us. And then I also now have a free gift for anybody that is interested. And my website is currently just a form page where you can go to fill out for that free gift. And if you're interested, there's 3 free, very mini meditations, very simple. If you're looking to find a way to meditation, um, it's a wonderful introduction, and even if you're already a meditator, it's a wonderful addition to your meditation tools. And I'd like to offer that to everybody.
Oh, that's
And I hope to soon be offering in-person retreats,
you're right.
because I really do believe in experiential, you know, healing, experiential spirituality. We're really, gathering the women together in circle. I think that it's so powerful and so important. And eventually I do also plan on doing both retreats for men and women. And, now's the time, and the change, it truly starts with you. You know, if you need a change, or if you're feeling disconnected and numb, if you're not living with happiness and peace and joy and harmony, it starts with you.
Mm.
And if you're looking for a way on how to do that, or if you're looking for a guide, more than happy to work with you. Just go ahead and sign up for my free gift, and and you'll have my email then as well. feel free to email me if interested.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for offering that. I am definitely going to go grab those. And I need something. You said they're brief, and I need that, to just kick me back into gear, right? And in the mornings when I wake up grumpy, because that's a thing. That's what I do. I know you all think I'm happy, but I wake up grumpy.
So you know what that is then, right?
No, what is it?
If anytime we're feeling anything other than happiness and peace, it's only to serve as a reminder to connect.
Yes.
So, I mean, I wonder, I challenge you, I challenge you to take, that time as soon as you wake up in the morning to just sit and
Mm,
just be, and don't feel like you have to do anything. And if there's thoughts, don't judge yourself. Don't worry. Just sit and be present in the moment.
mm,
Focus on your breath, do some deep breathing, listen to meditations, and see, for myself now, I was one of those people who could never sit down. Like I would always have people to my house, right? And host the pleaser, right? And run, 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 right?
yep.
And do everything for everybody. But the truth is that I was kind of hiding. Like I then had trouble sitting. I had trouble being. Like people used to always tell me, Michelle, just come sit down for crying out loud. Like, because I
Right.
didn't.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I found myself in a 5-day meditation retreat where we like literally meditated from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I was like, oh, just kidding. No, literally by like day 2, day 3, you are just blissed. Like you
Mm,
are like, you're floating. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
to me, it's like learning how to take that floating energy, that bliss, and grounding it into
Mm,
this dimension, into this reality, and to the third dimension
mm.
here, and finding that. And it's the greatest gift ever. And that's why it's like, when you go to a great restaurant or you receive a great gift, you want to share it, right?
Yes, yes. Bring us the bliss, Michelle. Bring
Yeah,
us the bliss.
exactly, exactly. So thank you so much for having
Oh,
me,
yeah.
Renee. This has been so much fun.
It has been so much fun. Thank you, everybody. Um, it's been wonderful. If you have any questions, I'll put those links down below. Tag us, check out Michelle's meditations. I know I am right when we're done here. So thank you.
Wake up happy. Thank you.